of the vital functions of the United States government is to establish and maintain diplomatic relations with other countries. In every friendly and civilized nation in the world, there is an American embassy or legation. Whether it is Paris or Cairo, Shanghai, or any other remote outpost, the most reliable and confidential means of communication is the courier service. Armed only with his passport, the courier, like a global postman, delivers the top secret dispatches of our government.
Name?
Stephen McQuinn,
Profession?
diplomatic courier. As a rule, the world holds few surprises for a courier, and Java promised to be no exception. I'd carried everything from treaties to contracts for cinchona bark, all standard operating procedure. That is, until I learned why I was here. To bring back to America the most unpredictable explosive element known to man.
I absolutely refuse to let him take me back.
You have absolutely nothing to say about it.
I don't believe it. I just don't believe it.
That makes two of us.
It's your job to act in the best interests of American citizens.
Well, that's just why I requested permission to ship you home. I don't know whose brilliant idea it was to have a courier deliver you in person, but that's what this cablegram says, and that's the way it's going to be.
She'll never fit in this pouch.
Oh, very funny. I don't care whose idea it was. I came all the way out here from New York to find my fiancé, and I'm not leaving till I do.
Now, you listen to me, young lady.
That's all I've done for the past 3 weeks. Isn't anybody interested in what I've got to say?
Why don't you try me?
Oh, now, don't encourage her, McQuinn.
McQuinn? Did you say Steve McQuinn?
That's my name.
Oh, you're the answer to my prayer. Ray's told me so much about you.
Ray?
Ray Harmon, my fiancé.
Are you Ray Harmon's girl? Why, you're all he talked about when we had Thanksgiving dinner together in Singapore. Well, he said he was going to marry a beautiful gal, and by golly, he was right.
I'm still single. Instead of a husband for Christmas, all I got was a cablegram. Forget marriage. Well, not me, brother. I'm not letting him off the hook that easy. I got too much invested in this guy.
And you've heard nothing from him since?
Not a word.
Well, that's strange. I distinctly remember Ray telling me this was his last trip to the Far East.
Just try and tell him that. A man's country just doesn't let him disappear and do nothing about it.
We've done everything possible.
Well, he was Far Eastern representative for the Drug Association ever since the war. Something's radically wrong.
Well, American Drug fired him 3 months ago.
But why in heaven's name? He knew this area backwards.
Policy disagreement, I heard.
Now, does that make sense to you? Ray was in line for a vice presidency. He was forced to make this trip to stockpile quinine.
Did he complete his job?
I paid cash for $2 million worth of quinine right here in Java from the Van Meer plantation. They've been loading a ship all week.
And after cornering the market against all kinds of foreign opposition, he gets fired, gives me the brush, and disappears. Does that make sense to you?
No.
Then help me, Mr. McQuinn. Help me find him. He may be sick.
Sounds logical to me, Sanders.
You have your orders, McQuinn. There's a plane leaving tonight. See that you're both on it.
Yes, but,
But what?
I'm sorry.
Famous last words. I'm sorry. All right. Get in line with all the rest of them. But if you think I'm going to be on that plane tonight, you're going to have to drag me on board. And the way I look at it, you're not big enough.
Is there anything I can do for you, Miss Towne?
No. No, thank you, Coco.
If you can find a big enough rock, maybe we can both crawl under it.
Now, don't get me wrong, Steve. I understand how she feels.
If only there was some way I could help her.
Worry about that on the trip home. You better get on over to her hotel. Coco, my secretary, will give you the address.
Okay. Where's Miss Towne staying?
The Javanese Hotel, sir. You're taking her back?
Yes, tonight. Coco, do you happen to know anything about the Ray Harmon situation?
I do not even know him, sir.
Thank you.
Three, four. Ring twice.
Ray, please. This could be important. Julie Van Meer speaking. When? Thank you. Thank you very much.
Well, I don't know who called, but I wish they'd do it more often.
Darling, she's leaving tonight.
She is? How do you find out?
You know, I have connections.
In my book, you have everything, Julie.
I do now. Darling, I have a confession to make. Why nod your head? You could possibly know what I'm going to say.
Want to make a little bet? Mm-hmm. You're sorry that you've had me under a magnifying glass for the past few months. Did you think I didn't know you were testing me?
Well, with your record in the Far East, it just seemed incredible that you could be fired.
So you had Peter Rogg double-checked despite the fact that I assured you I was not going back to the States.
Darling, it will never happen again, I promise you. I feel so ashamed.
Well, that's just the point. You need me. If you hadn't probed, checked, and come to your own conclusions, you never would have been sure.
Darling, I'm so sick and tired of quinine, shipping dates, market prices. I'd almost forgotten what it was like to be a woman.
Are you sure of me now?
Darling, we'll sail on the Oriental tonight.
But the Oriental's bound for San Francisco. I don't want to go back to the States.
That quinine will never reach America.
But it's being paid for.
If the ship goes off its course, winds up in another port, and its cargo is confiscated, we'll question it. $4 million goes so much further than $2.
Does Rogg know what you're planning?
Of course. He set the deal. Once we were partners. When I took over, he elected to remain on my terms.
And is that how we're to be together? On your terms?
Once we sail, you take over the reins. I'll do anything you say. I promise you. I'll love it. I better finish packing now.
You were pretty sure of yourself, weren't you?
So are you.
I should have known better than to go screaming out of Standish's office like a hysterical Hannah.
You don't look like the hysterical type to me.
I guess it's because I'm so scared. Not a shred of news.
Well, no news is good news.
Oh, please, Steve. Save the homey philosophy. You know, when I found out who you were, I thought surely I'd see some action.
Well, maybe Ray isn't in trouble. Maybe he's just...
Changed his mind? No, not Ray. Nothing could ever come between us. I know that. Oh, what's the use? I guess I am a hysterical Hannah after all.
Go ahead and cry. It'll do you good.
You know, a girl waits all her life for the right man to come along, and here it is over before it starts. Not much to remember him by, is it?
Where's the other half?
Ray has it. Said he wanted to keep it for good luck.
Sally. Sally, listen to me. I can't promise anything, but we still have 6 hours before our plane takes off. I'm going to scout around and find out what I can.
Would you, Steve? Would you do that for me?
If for no other reason than to see what you look like when you smile.
Years ago, I told you I would be around when you made a mistake.
Wishful thinking, Peter.
Why did you tell Harmon you are reselling the quinine?
There will be no secrets between me and my husband.
Ray Harmon is just your first mistake.
No, you were.
Julie, if you leave here, I'll never see you again.
I can think of nothing more delightful.
Don't you know the risk of sailing on the Oriental? That the captain stick his neck out. If anything goes wrong, he's to blame. I've spent months working it out.
For which you'll be paid in full. Here are the deeds to the plantation, the ships. The moment I've collected, they're all yours.
You'll go tired of him.
Never, and I won't let you make me doubtful again. I love him. I believe him.
It's a rather touching keepsake for a future husband to have hidden in his valise.
Probably forgot all about it. Yes? Quinn. I'm not in. No, wait a moment. Keep him at the gatehouse. I'll be right down.
This may be your second mistake. It's amazing how mistakes are related to the atom bomb. You make one and a whole chain reaction begins.
Who should know better than you? I certainly wish I could have been more helpful to you, Mr. McQuinn.
Well, if nothing else, I've been shown the quinine plantation by an expert.
Oh, they're loading the last of the season's bark. You notice it's removed from the trees in alternate strips. It constantly renews itself with a maximum growth in the 11th year, which is why I was able to fill the tremendous order Ray Harmon placed with me.
I wish I could have been as successful filling the order Ray Harmon's fiancé placed with me.
None of us understand what could have happened to him.
I know this is just a shot in the dark, Miss Van Meer, but if you should stumble on any information, would you cable me in Washington?
Oh, you have my word.
Well, I better get back to town. Our plane leaves in a couple of hours.
I do wish I could have been more helpful to Miss Towne.
She's a pretty heartbroken girl. It was a real love match.
Goodbye, Miss
Goodbye, Miss Van Meer.
Mr. McQuinn.
Oh, yes?
I don't know if this means very much, but it did belong to Ray Harmon.
Where did you find this?
In the trash basket in my office about 3 months ago. That was the last time I saw Ray Harmon, when we finalized the contract. I don't know why I've held on to it for so long, but I think now perhaps Miss Towne should have it.
Oh, I don't know.
I do. But if I were you, I would wait until you were on the plane.
Well, maybe you're right. Thank you. Goodbye, Miss Van Meer.
Happy landing.
Take my advice, Steve, and file that under unfinished business.
You mean not give it to Sally at all?
But wait 6 months, a year.
I just can't figure out what a woman like that would be doing walking around with a locket in her hand.
Did you ever know a woman who threw anything away?
Ah, you're talking about schoolgirls and old maids. Julie Van Meer is one of the richest women in Asia.
She also happens not to be married.
Only because she wants it that way, I'm sure.
Well, a lot of men have tried, but she's strictly business.
Say, you don't suppose Ray...
That was the first thought to cross my mind. If anything were going to flare up between them, it'd happen long before this.
How can you be sure?
I can tell you one thing. If Julie Van Meer turns out to be Sally Towne's competition, that's all, brother.
That's not very funny.
You've got a long flight ahead of you. If you want to make it a calm one, I'd keep my mouth shut.
If only I could be sure.
Coco has your tickets. I'll bring your pouch out to the airport, Steve.
Right.
flight is leaving right on schedule, Mr. McQuinn. Will you say goodbye to Miss Towne for me?
No chance of the flight being delayed, is there? A hurricane, maybe, or engine trouble?
Mr. McQuinn, I think you'd really like to stay here and help Miss Towne find her fiancé.
What's more, young lady, I have a feeling I could.
Mr. Standish, may I leave for the day? Terima kasih. Salamat malam. And perhaps you'll think me presumptuous, Miss Van Meer, but I wanted to warn you.
About what, Coco?
Mr. McQuinn, the American courier.
Oh, that was very thoughtful of you, but you needn't have bothered. I saw him this afternoon.
I know. You gave him a locket.
What about it?
Americans have vivid imaginations. With a little encouragement, Mr. McQuinn might even be tempted to stay on, prolong the search.
Let him.
But I don't understand. You were so anxious about Miss Towne leaving.
Anxiety is brought on by fear, Coco, and there's nothing more for me to be afraid of.
I don't see that you hold that thought. There is no longer necessary for me to hide.
No longer necessary for either one of us. Coco, this is Mr. Harmon.
Don't you work for the American consulate?
She's worked much longer for me. But now, Coco, you can devote yourself to your new position full-time.
You mean my services haven't been satisfactory?
On the contrary, you'll realize just how satisfactory when you deposit this in your bank. And Coco, I want you to be the first to know. Mr. Harmon and I are being married.
Miss Van Meer, I'm so happy for you. And you too, sir.
Thank you. Now, I don't want to rush you, Julie, but we should be going aboard.
Right.
You're leaving, Java?
We're sailing on the Oriental. We're being married at sea.
With a honeymoon in San Francisco. How exciting. May I come to the dock to see you off?
Yes, of course. We're sailing at 9.
May the gods smile upon your future.
Oh, thank you, Coco.
Well, I'll be getting the luggage.
Aye.
Very beautiful.
I waited a long time to wear this dress.
Not as long as I've waited for you.
Oh, Peter, please, don't spoil this night for me.
I don't have to.
What do you mean by that?
You can't change, Julie. You'll never change. You've learned my lessons too well. Don't leave me, Julie.
Ray, where are you? Ray!
Ray, take me away. Take me out of there once and for all.
The night Ray put this around my neck, I thought nothing can ever separate us now.
Sally, where did Ray keep his half of the locket?
I don't know. He said it was a secret. He was going to keep it until
Until what?
we were married. Then we were going to put the two pieces together, all very symbolic and sentimental. Kid stuff. Why do you want to know?
It's just that you seem to be so sure of Ray.
What are you trying to do to me, Steve? Why are you asking me all these questions now?
Because I lied to you.
You've heard something. He's dead.
No. Julie Van Meer gave that to me. She found it after Ray left the plantation.
But how could she?
It was in the trash basket in her office.
She's lying. She's lying.
Why should she be?
I don't know. But she hasn't told you the whole story. Ray would never part with this. I know him.
Well, suppose you were wrong.
Not if I live to be 100. Get me the Van Meer plantation.
I was a fool to tell you.
No, I'm glad you did. I want to talk to her.
Hello.
Hello. Julie Van Meer, please.
She's gone. She's gone to the boat. The Oriental.
Some man answered. I could hardly understand him. Said something about a boat. The Oriental. Steve, we're going to that boat.
But suppose, now just suppose, mind you, that you find Ray with her.
You know, Steve, Someday you're going to love somebody as much as I love Ray Harmon. Then you'll understand how foolish you sound.
I hope you will be comfortable.
Thank you.
Of course you understand. I will not be able to perform the ceremony until we are 12 miles out at sea.
Oh, we understand, Captain.
Of course.
Can't believe we're on our way.
You know, I just remembered, no marriage will be complete without some champagne.
Oh, we're well supplied.
I'll see the steward immediately.
Ray, I mean, don't you think it's strange Coco didn't show up to say goodbye?
Now, why should a blushing bride worry about a thing like that?
It is silly, isn't it? Hurry back, darling.
Steward, where can we find Miss Van Meer?
You are friends of hers?
Yes, we've come to wish her bon voyage.
She has the captain's quarters.
Thank you. Yes?
Would you do me one more favor?
What's that?
Let me see Julie Van Meer alone.
Oh, Sally, do you think that's wise? Miss Van Meer is a pretty clever woman. I'd feel better about the whole thing if I was with you.
Please, Steve. You had your chance. Let me handle this.
All right. I'll wait for you here.
Thanks.
What are you doing here?
Suppose you answer that question. Do you know what Sally's gone through? Believing in you, hoping, praying that you're still alive?
I didn't ask her to come out here. Now, the sooner that plane leaves with her on board, the better off I'll be. Where is she now?
She's in the cabin, trying to find out something that'll lead her to you.
Steve, you've got to get her out there before she ruins everything.
Is that all you're worried about? That she'll louse up your chances with Julie Van Meer?
Look, Steve, I'll level with you. I'm doing a job for the government. I've got to see that this shipment of quinine isn't hijacked.
Oh, what a knucklehead I am. I'm sorry, Ray. I should have known. Can I help in any way?
Yes, both of you get off this ship before it's too late.
You never fooled me for a minute. A government agent, double-crossing Julie.
She's not telling the truth, Steve. I know she isn't.
Really, Miss Towne. I know what a dreadful experience this has been for you. And I can only regret bitterly that Mr. McQuinn saw fit to give you that locket so soon.
She's right, Sally. It was coincidence, pure coincidence. Come on, let's get out of here.
Coincidence. Then what's Ray's luggage doing in this cabin?
What are you doing here?
I told you Ray Harmon was your first mistake. He's a government agent. I heard him tell the Americans.
You're lying. Why don't you give up? I told you this afternoon I was going to marry Ray Harmon.
Then Ray is on board this ship.
Yes, he is, and we're going to be married.
Come on, Sally, let's go ashore.
I hope you can swim.
Well, I guess we won't have to swim after all. The United States gunboat just fired a shot across your bow. Come on, Sally, there's a fella out here I want you to meet.
And as soon as I learned what time the Oriental was sailing, I contacted the Navy, just as Mr. Harmon instructed me to do weeks ago.
Which just goes to prove you can never underestimate the power of the women. God bless them.
Well, our plane leaves in 30 minutes.
Hey, you know what, Sanders? We're going to do you a favor and be on it.
With no arguments this time.